Welcome to Event Radio, covering local drag racing, stock car racing, motorcycles, go-karts. If it's got wheels and you can race it, you'll hear about it here. Event Radio is motorsports radio on steroids. Now, let's join your hosts, Spivvy Williams and Terrible T Guy.
All right, guys, welcome to the next edition of Event Radio. We are at another fun event. Boy, we get to go to a bunch of them, but this one is really cool. We are at the Voodo Hoodo.
The name says it all.
Yeah, the name is cool enough if we didn't even get to tell you about the show. But it's put on by a car club called the Voodoo Kings, and man, this is a staple for us. It's a show to go to every year, and man, we like it. We have fun.
This is the fourth year they've had it here, Spiff. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
Bowling Green.
Keeps on getting bigger and more folks and lots of fun, and they got cool cars here. This is, I think it's different for the fact that this is the old 50s
That's exactly
cruiser,
what I was
you
saying,
know.
Spiff. It's like we grew up with the car clubs, the side pipes. There's not as many, not what you say, the rat rod crowd. It looks like you're stepping back in time into the greasers and the Betty Boops and such as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old 50 Fords, the old Mercuries and stuff with the lowered, with the lake pipe.
Lead sleds.
Yeah, lead sleds. That's what it is. But there is a ton of them here that this is going to be a fun deal. There's a lot of vendors here. There's even our local fire department has the old Seagrave fire truck out here that's if you travel.
1931.
Yeah, if you travel down through the new fire department, it's on display inside. But you can come out here and check the thing out up close and personal. We're going to have a lot of fun today.
It's just kind of like stepping back in time. I mean, stuck in the 50s again.
Well, we're sort of lost in the 50s, ain't
Well,
we?
yeah.
I think we are. We're lost in the 50s, Anyhow, guys, they're coming in. They're rocking and rolling. We got rat rods, and if they're not old, they're painted to look like they're old. And that's pretty
patina.
Cool. Is that what that is? I thought rust was patina.
That was in our day, but now they call it patina.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, guys, and we're going to get real busy. And actually, we're going to start this thing out by talking to a good buddy on the deal from the fire department. We're going to talk to him just real quick because he's got the Seagraves fire truck here. We're going to take a quick break. We will be right back. All right, guys, we are back from the Voodo Hoodo. And we have one of the guys that lets you sleep at night. You may not realize it, and they're sort of the unsung heroes of our area. But one of our local firemen, what is your name, sir?
Don Brode.
Don, first off, let us thank you on behalf of us, all our listeners, for being a fireman. You guys, man, you sign everybody a blank check when you go into a burning building, and we appreciate that because of what you do. Honorable, sir, very honorable.
Well, thank you.
You got the Seagrave fire truck. Now, guys, most of the time you have to go by the fire department and see this thing through a glass window, but you can come to Voodo Hoodo and see it, right?
Yes, we brought it out.
Did you drive it out here?
Yes, sir.
Wide open?
Probably not.
Okay, probably not. Let me ask you something. Firemen, you guys work crazy hours. Is it like on 24 and off 48 or something like that?
Yes, sir, that's correct. So
you got to be ready to go, huh, in the middle of the night or whenever it is.
Yes, sir, whenever the bell goes off.
So tell me real quick what happens from the minute the bell goes off in the fire department.
When the minute the bell goes off, it depends whether it's day or night.
Let's say in the middle of deep sleep. What do you do when it goes off? Because you're there, buddy, I know.
I jump up, put my feet on the floor, go to the truck, jump into my gear, climb into my seat, buckle in, pull my air pack straps on, and by that time the truck's ready to roll. I think we've got 60 or 90 seconds to be out the door from the time the bell goes off.
So it is you are timed on that, and you guys practice that. Is that right?
Well, we don't practice it per se, but it's...
Well, it's something you got to learn how to do from the beginning. Of course, you've been doing it for years, I mean, that's it's old hat to you. You know, we understand that. But what's the hairiest fire you've been involved in? Tell me that. Is there one that, or are they all bad?
All of them are bad because even the mildest fire, somebody's lost something.
Oh, sure, and they're strictly dependent on you guys to make it all better, you know, and which you do. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of guys, they think the firemen go there and all they do is just contain it and let her burn out, and that's not the case at all. I mean, you guys get after it now.
Yes, sir. We drag hose lines in, and once we've got it put out, we have to make sure that it's totally extinguished, and then we do clean up and try to preserve.
Well, now let me tell you something. When I can fully appreciate those hoses now. And guys, if you're listening, you have not lived until you tried to hold on to one of those things. They were kind enough to me back years ago to come out and wash my parking lot off at Race World with one of those. And I got to hold on to one of those when they cranked that dude up. And trust me, it's like trying to hold on to a mad copperhead. That thing's got a bunch of pressure, and I'm a big guy, and it'll whip you around, right?
Yes, sir. There's back pressure from the nozzle. It will actually push you back. You've got to dig in and hold on.
Yeah, it's quite a deal. My hat's off to you, my friend, because you gotta be in pretty good physical shape, you know, to just hang on to those if nothing else. And plus, doing all that climbing and going. Who makes the call on whether it's time to run in there like gangbusters or to lay back? Who do you do that, or who does that?
That is our shift commander's job.
So whatever he says is y'all got enough faith in him to go for it, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now, it makes me a little nervous you calling me sir because, see, usually the only people that call me sir, I owe them money, and I know I don't owe you any money. So, you know, I'm just that'll be all right. Listen, we want to thank you for taking a minute to be on the radio on the Voodo Hoodo and represent the fire department that honestly we think so much of in this city, and we sleep really good at night because of you guys. And we want to thank you for doing what you do, my friend.
Well, on behalf of all the guys and myself, thank you too.
Well,
and you're welcome.
Hey, we're going to have a bunch of fun guys from the Voodo Hoodo, and it can get really hot out here, and my buddy will put it out. Ain't no problem. Guys, we will be right back. You're on Event Radio. Hang in there. All right, guys, welcome back to the Voodo Hoodo. We're having just a blast out here. And we run up on a gentleman that just may be one of the most, or he for sure has owned one of the most famous cars in this area. And he's our buddy. He sort of grew up with T and I. He was the Fonz of when we were growing up.
I guarantee you that.
Yeah, he was the Fonz when we were growing up. There's no doubt about it. But our buddy and
friend.
Yeah, we're going to call you a friend too. And what else can we call you, Lewis? Whatever.
We won't go there.
we know. Mr. Lewis Burns, guys, he is a great guy, and his car that I was telling you about, Lewis has had some absolutely drop dead gorgeous cars, and one of his specimens that we will tell you a little about just happens to be in a very, very famous guy's collection right now. It is in the Jay Leno garage. So if that gives you any idea of the quality car we're talking about, this man is on the mark. What are you doing, man?
I just come out to see what all's going on, Spivvy. See the old cars, and you know, once you bit by the bug, you never lose it.
Well, and it's good you don't lose it, buddy, because you got some gorgeous stuff. You don't have any slugs. You know what I mean? You're building a new Bonneville Roadster. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm gonna. It's started with the Brookville body, Cornhusker chassis. My engine is not back yet. I'm having a famous builder out west to build the engine.
And this will be a flathead more than likely.
It'd be a flathead, a 4 1/4-inch stroke, and it's going to be a pretty powerful flathead engine.
Now, is this thing going to be a fully functional Bonneville Roadster, or are you going to cruise it? What are you going to do?
I'm going to run it I'm going to run it one time. Probably don't expect to set no records, of course. It takes a lot more money than I can do to set a record, but it will run strong, and I'll be in the record book, and that's really all I want.
Oh, all you want to do is just be there, huh?
Yeah. I wanted when other little kids were coloring, I was looking at hot rod magazines.
Well, that's okay.
I was. I'd go in the store, and my mom would say, "Why are you looking at those?" And been fascinated with the salt flat all my life. I think it's the greatest thing that ever happened to hot rods and cars and such.
And well, it's way forgiving, isn't it? As far as being able to get out there and it's sort of hard to screw up. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's pretty hard. It's a safe sport, and the way they the rules and the regulations and all, they just won't let you come out there and get hurt. I mean, they won't do it. I mean, you've got to have the equipment for the class that you run.
Yeah. How fast do you think your Roadster's going to run when you get there? Do you got an idea?
Probably, from the best that the motor builders figured, probably, maybe 160, 170, something like that.
That's pretty strong out of a flathead.
Well, it's 1932 technology. It hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed,
has not changed. Has not changed. There's a few things different, but basically there's nothing changed.
Well, the car that wound up in Jay Leno's, it was a flathead too.
Yeah, it was a flathead, and it was built by a guy that runs the salt flat, a gentleman named George Arning. He's the development engineer for Ford Motor Company, and he built it. And that car, Bill Ford sat in it and signed the dash on it.
Well, you had, like I say, this ain't your first rodeo, buddy. Do some cool cars, and you not only do cars, you do motorcycles too. You did an Indian motorcycle that's it's better than it was when Indian turned it loose.
Yeah, and I also had 5 of the what I call the older Indians. Indian quit in 1953, and then of course they started back in, I believe, 99. But anyway, I had the older ones. I had 5 of those.
Well, I tell you what, and I remember you were a motorcycle riding man, sir, when we grew up. You used to, there were some railroad tracks, and I remember watching, you would ride a bike that had a side shift, an old Harley that had a foot clutch and a side shift, and you could shift that thing fast enough to spin the tires in between gears. That always amazed me, watching you do that.
Well, I learned to ride on a hand shift, and I'm still more comfortable on a hand shift, and I can still shift a hand shift the same speed that anyone can a foot shift. To me, it's easier. It's more. I love it better.
Well, I tell you what, my friend, it's T and I have been buddies with you for a long time, and we've cherished that relationship because it's you're the man. Now there ain't no question about it. If a guy wants to know how to build a car and how to build it right and what to use in it, you're the guy they need to talk to because you don't do any slugs.
Especially if you're going to stroke it.
Yeah, and a flathead. I mean, I know it's old technology and this, that, and other, but to me, my first car was a 49 Ford.
Well,
flathead.
That's when hot rods were hot rods, my friend.
Well,
I mean, that you look at some of them nowadays, and the gorgeous, really good-looking cars have still got the flatheads in them, and man, that's just so cool. I like it.
I love it. Here's the thing about it. I hate that there's not more automotive machinists that are building flatheads because it's so much different. You take a guy can build a Ford or a Chevy or Chrysler or whatever, and then he tears this flathead down. It's a totally different animal. It's totally different. I mean, there's no push rods. It's just totally different. Everything. It
really shouldn't run, should it?
No. It's just a weird setup, but it's really a good setup. You never been a push rod. You never have a rocker arm to go bad. I mean, it's just. They're a cool engine. They're just super cool. I just love that you can take this technology and bring it up to date and still run pretty fast. I run a lot of people block to block with that one that I sold. It went out to Leno. I run a lot of people block to block. Was beat very few times. I run some fast cars. Now, flathead is really, really fast for the first, say, eighth or just under, but they run out of everything. The cubic inch and the fact that, see, they just have 3 exhausts on each side. The center 2 pistons has to share the same exhaust. That kind of hurts it.
Yeah, I would say that might hurt the flow just a touch.
Yes,
Just
it does.
Yeah,
It
but
does.
I tell you what, you figured it out, and you got them running good, and man, they're fast, and there's some flathead dragsters out there still running, and those guys are stroking. I mean, they're flying.
There's one that runs in the high. There, believe it or not, I've talked with him. There's one that runs in the high sevens. Out to a hot rod reunion about 4 years ago. He ran one morning at 9 o'clock or 9:30. It was 3 o'clock that afternoon before somebody beat his time.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And that was with a flathead, and it was sort of a handmade little rail, little dragster type, made in his own garage. And I talked with him, and he said before he quit racing, he hoped to get it. He hoped to get it in the very, very in the low sevens. I don't know if he can, but he's going to try.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, they amaze me to watch them. I went down at my buddies down at Tennessee Speed, and they have a full decked out flathead on a motor stand in there because they still sell the stuff. They still sell the parts and stuff in Nashville, and it's cool. And then I went on down to the Pickers deal, and they've got a flathead in there, so they're pretty popular.
Well, the gentleman's building my flathead. He's in Oregon, the state of Oregon, and he
couldn't you've gone a little farther away from Kentucky to get that done? I mean,
he'd had to have a boat and built it out on a boat. But he said that he started doing this. He's 73 or 4. He started doing this, and he's 16 years old. When Flathead sort of went away, everybody said, you need to quit building them and start building Chevys and Fords and Chrysler. He said, I'm going to stick with Flatheads. They will be back. And sure enough, they back.
They are back. Yeah.
It's like the bell-bottom pants, Louis. Everything's coming back.
I'm hoping for that. My closet says they're going to be a hit again one of these days because I've still got some.
I'm hoping. I've got a few things like that, too.
Yeah, well, good stuff you don't want to get rid of.
No,
right?
You don't want to get rid of.
Are you having fun at the Voodo Hoodo, bud?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is a different kind of event, isn't it?
Oh, yes. And I was going to mention one other thing. You was talking about motorcycles a second ago, the old hand shift. I've got a Harley Davidson that I have. I'll be this week. I'll be 67, the 10th of October, and I have never seen another one at a car show. I mean, at a bike show or anything. I've got a Harley that shifts on the right and throttles on the left. It took me 10 years to find out why it was set up that way. It was a police bike out of New York. I bought this bike in '74, and I ain't got around to finishing it yet. I don't get in a hurry.
Yeah, well, you want to always have a good project.
It was a state police bike, and in '40 they rode Indians, and they shift on the right and throttle on the left. Well, Harley Davidson said, we will put these like the Indian if you'll buy 50 of them. They bought 50 of them, so this is one of 50.
Wow. Well, I'd say that thing, boy, the Harley Museum may want to buy that thing back. That had to be hard learning how to operate the throttle on the wrong side.
It would have took me 10 years just to learn that.
Yeah.
Well, I rode an Indian with it like that. I had a 53. I sold it to a gentleman here in town, a 53. And it shifted on the right and throttled on the left. Now, it did. That's one thing. It probably took me a little while.
Did you... I don't know, buddy. I don't know that I could do that. And the Indians are used a lot in that wall of death. You know what I mean? That Rhett Rotten or whatever his name is, T. You know who I'm talking about. The wall of death, guys. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's a big cylinder type deal made out of wood, and they get in there and actually ride around. Centrifugal force keeps them up on the wall, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Why do they use the Indians? Is there any particular reason?
The center of gravity is really, really low on them, and that probably plays a part in it. It probably does. It probably plays a part.
Do you ever want to try that?
No. I've as a kid, me and my brother, we had bikes, and we would put a 2x6 up on my dad's car. He caught us doing it, and we jumped the car, and he caught us doing it, and that was the end. He grounded us. He took our motorcycles for 3 months.
I didn't want you jumping his car.
No.
I guess he's afraid you might land in the windshield or something.
Well, we done it. My brother miscalculated a little, and believe it or not, landed this bike in the fork of a small tree. We had to cut one limb off to get the bike down because we couldn't pick it up.
Well, Lewis, you never had no trouble keeping something wide open.
No,
it's just not knowing any better. I mean, young stupidity. I done some things that I think about it now that just don't.
Well, the statute of limitations run out on most of it now, Lewis.
Yeah. I still got. I've got a '98 that we. You seen it, the red and white Harley that
beautiful.
we put it back like old school, 61 tank emblems and headlights and all that. Put it as back as old school as we could. Of course, it's a evolution engine, but it looks old school.
Well, it's a good-looking scooter, buddy. I know that. I always like to see you and see what you got going on because you sort of set the benchmark for a lot of these guys, and especially in our area. They ask you about parts. They ask you about how to do this, how to do that, and you could be a valuable asset to a lot of manufacturers.
Well,
you could save them a lot of trouble.
Lewis's cars and bikes not only got the horsepower and craftsmanship in the motor, but they're fine to look at too.
Oh yeah, they're
from
gorgeous.
front to back.
They're gorgeous. They're always that way.
Well, the one I'm building now, the soft flat type car, I didn't go with. It's not chromed out or bellet aluminum out or nothing like that. It's when I ordered this chassis, I told him I didn't want any chrome whatsoever. It is really, really old school. I mean, it's really old school. It's got Lincoln drum brakes on the front and on the rear. It's got a quick change rear end. I'm running a 5-speed transmission, and it's all aluminum. Frank Wallach is building my interior. He's in all the hot rod magazines. Frank Wallach from out west. I believe he's in Colorado. I forgot. Colorado, I think. But he's doing all this interiors like the old bomber airplane.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, buddy, we're looking forward to getting the first look, I guess you would say, of the new Bonneville car when you get it finished. And guys, there's not many of you out there that have the honors this man has to have a car that's cool enough that Mr. Jay Leno would want it in his deal. But our buddy Lewis has done that. So if that gives you any indication of the kind of quality this gentleman does, you sort of figure it out. Lewis, my friend, thank you for joining us on Event Radio. It's always cool to see you and always fun. And we're gonna follow you at the Voodo Hoodo because you'll pick out the cool stuff for us to look at. We know that.
Well, I want to tell you one thing before I go. I got a lot of friends up in Breckenridge County, and they are really was glad that you guys came up there to the old drag race, the old strip and all. They're still talking about it, and every time I talk to one, they tell me if I see you and T over here to tell you thanks, and they just liked y'all being there. I wanted to tell you that.
Well, now our buddy up there, Mr. Boney Robinson, he is the Rod Father. We have nicknamed him.
Yes.
And you will see his car, guys. It says Boney Speed Shop, and a little guy on a skateboard with the motor on the back. I mean, he's just too cool, and he's our buddy, and we play with him a lot. But we really appreciated the opportunity to go to the U.S. 60 50th anniversary deal. That's on our archive pages, guys, if you want to listen to that. It is one cool drag strip. We all grew up there, and it is a fun place to go, and we appreciate those guys being such loyal listeners of Event Radio because they really are, and we really appreciate them.
And one of these days, Speedy, when you're talking about going up there, you told me a story about going up to the drag strip, and you were towing a car, and you had a friend that decided he was going to help you pass a car. How'd that work out?
Well, actually, the two cars, I'll tell you real quick of the story, and my little friend is no longer with us. He sort of exited a little bit early, but his name was Billy Gott, and he was just a prince. I mean, he hung out with Terry and I forever. We hauled him to every drag race in the country, including through the funny car years. But there was a little girl back at US 60 that worked in a concession stand that we thought was just Miss America. I mean, we thought she was just really cool. Well, we were racing an old Corvette over there, and my dad had bought a new Cadillac. And so we thought we'd be cool and tow the Corvette with the Cadillac. You know, I mean, the Corvette was street legal enough at that time. We could have driven it, but that wasn't cool. You know, we had to tow it. So we had a tow bar, and we put it behind this Cadillac. Well, my dad would not let me drive the Cadillac, but he would let my buddy Joe drive it. Well, little Gott wanted to ride in the Corvette and wave at people, and he went over there fine. Wasn't a problem. You know, everything worked out good. We got beat, and we loaded up and got ready to head home. Needless to say, we didn't impress the little girl at all. But we're heading back, and there's a straightaway that's about 5 miles long if it's an inch. Well, this Corvette is hooked to my dad's Cadillac with a tow bar. And we had told God not to touch the steering wheel. And he said, I won't. Well, we pull out to pass a car, and it's getting dark, and the headlights are on, and there's a car coming, but it's probably 2 miles down the road. I mean, you can just barely see the headlights. Well, we get halfway around this car, and all of a sudden, all breaks loose. And the Cadillac is going from one ditch line to the other, and Joe is just fighting it, buddy. I mean, just having a heck of a time. I spun around and looked, and Gott's back there steering that Corvette. He's cutting in different directions and pushing that Cadillac all over the road. We finally got to stop. Joe jerked him out of the Corvette. He told me, he said, I'm going to kill you. I told you not to touch the steering wheel. He said, Joe, I couldn't help it. And he said, what do you mean you couldn't help it? He said, well, we were going on and doing good, and I looked up and saw that car coming and said, I knew y'all was going to get it in that Cadillac, but I was going to save that Corvette. So his intentions were at least good. But it was funny.
My goodness. That's something.
Well, that's true. That's true. All the stories, what's really wild is all the stories that Terry and I tell are actually true.
Yeah.
They're not, it's not as older, when you get older, you amp them up a little. That's not true.
No.
The stuff we tell, we lived it. We did it, and same way with you. We know you did it because we were there,
Well, you talking about motorcycles and street rods. It's hot rods. It's hard for me to tell you which one I like best because I like them both, and I can't really say which one I like the best. Maybe I can't.
Well, every one of them.
I couldn't make a choice.
Well, I tell you what, the best is probably yet to come because you're still
doing it both. You got them both.
Yeah. And it's a little expensive to have both, but I love both of them, and like I say, I can't really. I've been riding since I had a Sportster when believe it or not, I was 15 years old. And
I remember that one.
I'll tell you a quick story about it. I worked at the Harley shop, and of course we serviced the police bikes. Well, I go pick them up, come down, and change oil and tune them up and take them back. And the officers stand there waiting for them and hey, thank you a lot. So, and then I get on my bike and come back and went through a roadblock. The police officer had just done his bike for him the day before. He was standing there. He said, Lewis, let me see your license. I said, I don't have any. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not old enough to get them yet. Oh, he went through the roof. He went down, talked to my boss and Miss McClard, and it was something. Here I was riding police bikes, and I wasn't even old enough to be riding my own bike. But,
well, it's tell them you were testing it. That's what it was.
I was just 2 months from 16. So Raymond McClard, you remember Raymond?
Oh yeah, he was a jailer. Yeah.
So he talked to the police officer, and they sort of everything was okay.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. You had a lot more fun back then than you do now, and people were understanding then, and now it's just. Pretty much a black and white deal. There's no gray areas.
No.
You do something wrong and you're in trouble.
Well, remembering back, Lewis is one of the few, him and Tommy Lloyd, that I've heard that made it over the top of Greencastle Hill.
Oh yeah. I tried that every way in the world. Never did make it to the top.
I never made it on foot.
No.
Well, I made it over it on a bike that I got from Spivey that really wasn't made for that. It was a CRS Sprint 250, and Spivey remembers that he ordered it new.
Yep.
And that bike was not designed. It was too low to the ground. It was a short track bike. Technically, it was a little.
I rode that bike, Lewis.
Yes, it's a handlingest bike. It's the only bike I have ever had. The handlebar, and you've done this before racing a lot. I've had the handlebar to dig in the ground and still get the bike back up and never completely go down. Now, I've done that one time on that
Well, that
Sprint.
just proves both y'all know how to ride.
It proves that I don't know any better. I shouldn't have been on the hill because the exhaust was too low the way that ditch was cut out. But I did get over it, but it was hard to get stopped. And when I got stopped, I looked over the Greencastle Hill. It's not a pretty sight. It might be if you sightseeing, but not on a motorcycle.
Airplane.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
Well, listen, my friend, as bad as I hate to, we got to take a break here and talk to our sponsors a minute, but we appreciate you taking the time to be on Event Radio. It is always fun to be with you, and
I wish we could tell the audience, some really good stories.
We can't tell those. No, we can't tell those.
Let me check with the statute on that.
Which one, Lewis? Which one?
Which state? I don't know. Well, all of them.
Which statute of limitations?
All of them. There you go. Guys, you're on Event Radio. We are having too much fun, and our buddy Lewis is just making it more fun. Guys, we will be right back from the Voodo Hoodo. Hang in there. All right, guys, we are back from the Voodo Hoodo, and we have the head man with us. That he's actually the president of the Voodoo Kings. I'll get it right, boy. Just smack me over here because you're a big guy. What is your name, sir?
My name is John West.
John, where are you from, friend?
Well, originally I'm from Chicagoland, and I moved to Nashville area about 13 years ago.
Well, you missed sweet tea, I guess was what it was, huh?
Yeah, I had to develop that taste.
Well, we understand that going to, Nashville from Chicago, we can understand that move.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about the Voodoo Kings, please.
All right, well, the Voodoo Kings, we're a pre-63 custom car club located in 5 states. The mother chapter is in Chicagoland. So we're in Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and Tennessee. We run about 150 current members. We're a pre-63 traditional style, not so traditional custom car club.
I got you. And you have a lot of events, or is this is the Voodo Hoodo the main deal, or what?
We're involved in quite a few shows in the Nashville, mid-Tennessee area. We've got, of course, our show, which is the Voodo Hoodo. This is our 4th year, and it's a great turnout. This year we attached it to the Shriners Children's Burn Hospital up in Lexington.
Can't beat that, my friend.
Yep, up in Lexington, Kentucky. We've got silent auctions. We've got some raffle, and a portion of each car show entry will go directly to this children's hospital.
Hey, that's wonderful cause, my friend.
Yeah,
wonderful cause.
We don't need the money ourselves, and there's no sense, putting it in our pockets when we could turn it over to someone who needs the help.
Guys, car guys are just that way. They do a lot of good. Everybody looks at them, they think they're a bunch of old wild redneck hot rodders, and that's not really the case. They are hot rodders. They have fun, but all of them have got a little bit of a soft spot for different charities. And like this event, this is absolutely one of the best charities there is. I mean, you can't get any better than Shriners.
Yeah, myself, I'm a Mason, 32nd degree, and so we try to keep it, I wouldn't say in-house, but, I've got special attachment, to the Shrine and to the Masons, and we've got several of our club members that are Master Masons, and so that's our clique. And,
yeah, I've sort of traveled a little bit myself, so I know a little bit about that.
All right, very good. We're involved with a couple other shows that are coming up. It's going to be next year, May 1st and 2nd. There's a show that everybody needs to check out. It's going to be called the Nashville Boogie. It's going to be
really.
It's a music fest. It's going to be held at the Opryland Hotel. We've got a music fest, and then down in the basement, we're having an indoor car show.
Ooh, well, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I have often wondered why nobody did that. As big a building as that is, Terry's son just got married down there. We were down there, how long has it been, Terry? 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. He got married at the Opryland Hotel. And I'm telling you, you wear yourself out walking across that place. Jeez.
Well, we've got the Tennessee Grand Ballroom. That's going to be the music fest and vintage vendors. Downstairs in the convention hall, we're having an indoor car show. And we've got 200,000 square foot down there that we can fill with cars.
Buddy, I tell you what, we want to come to that now.
It's May 1st and 2nd. And look it up, Nashville Boogie. The hotel was gracious enough to give us hotel rooms for the participants for half price. $130 to spend a night at Opryland Hotel is not a bad deal.
Hey, that's a heck of a deal.
That's cool.
I guarantee you, everybody listening, that is a deal for that place.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the Opryland Hotel, guys, you need to go because it is a sure enough gorgeous place. And you don't have to go to the spa. If you walk across that dude several times, you've got all the exercise you need for a couple of weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to be involved with that. We're going to be sponsoring the car show.
Well, do you guys go out and cruise a lot? And do you do because the cars you have are very, very cruise friendly. They're not. They're cool. They're gorgeous looking and stuff, but they're cruisers. I mean, you ride in them.
Well, we build them to drive them. And if you break it, you fix it. And, we're not shy about riding in the rain, sleet, or snow. We try to attend, as many cruisins and car shows as we can. We support other shows. Those who support us, we support them. And we'll make the rounds and do what we can.
Well, I tell you what, for Terry and I on Event Radio, we look forward to this event every year. It's a little breezy here today, but that's okay.
Hell, it's blowing in the wind.
Just because Terry's feet hanging out on the back of the golf cart, blowing in the wind like a flag, not too bad.
Well,
but,
I said the worst 5 minutes here is when that sun gets behind the clouds and that wind picks up.
Yeah.
That's a bad 5 minutes.
But you've got some cool vendors. You got all kinds of cool cars, guys, and you need to always put the Voodo Hoodo on your calendar. It's one of those events you just for sure need to come to. It's just awesome. Now the girls are all dressed up as pin-up girls. There's got to be something for you guys to have a following like that with all them pretty women. What's the deal there?
Well, we're just lucky,
There you
Gotta
go.
be the cool cars.
Yeah, maybe it's
as
cars,
always.
Yeah, it's almost like a culture thing here in Nashville, and we do have people that follow us around, and they're either friends, girlfriends, friends of the girlfriends, or
Soon to be girlfriends.
Soon to be girlfriends.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, so we're fortunate there. We try to keep our shows and everything that we do family friendly, so everybody really appreciates that. Because if you go to a car show with your wife, you're not staying long if she's not happy.
That's right. Well, fortunately, T and I are in pretty good shape in that department because we marry girls that like this stuff, and they understand us. I don't know how, but they do.
They had to marry each other.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we had to do something. We appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to tell us a little about the Voodoo Kings, and thank you for bringing this event and allowing us to come cover it. We look forward to it every year, and it has a huge listening audience. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that like you just like us,
Well, we appreciate your support, and we were looking forward to you coming out again this year. This is our 4th year. We've already got number 5 in the works. It's going to be in the same area right here, and hopefully maybe not a little sunshine and a little less wind would be nice. But
there we go. Well, I tell you what, we may have to go back and see Junior, me and you drag race some valve covers or something, because you have valve cover racing, you got vendors, you got food, you got good-looking girls.
You're going to have music later
awesome
on,
cars, got music later on. What is there not to like at this event, right? There, I mean, you got a little something for everybody.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. Yeah, we try to keep it a hometown feel. We don't want to become that big 2,000 car show. Our ultimate goal is 150 cars, something we can keep our arms around.
Well, you got that close today, buddy.
Yeah, we're close to it.
You're pretty close right now.
Yeah, and that way it'll have that hometown feel. It'll be a show that you can go and see everything and enjoy it, and the kids can run, and the wife could be happy, and show your car.
And you stay out of trouble that way, right?
I stay out of trouble that way.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on Event Radio. This has been just too much fun. We're having a blast, guys, from the Voodo Hoodo. Do not go anywhere. You're on Event Radio. We will be right back. All right, guys, we are back from the Voodo Hoodo, and we have a special gentleman because it's sort of a special motorcycle club that we recognize, and I love the name, the 3 Degrees, because I know what that stands for. But what is your name, sir?
My name is Todd Kirkup.
Todd, where you from, friend?
I'm from Springfield, Tennessee.
That ain't very far.
Not very far.
But it's a little chilly to be on a bike today, ain't it?
Beautiful day. All you got to do is wrap up for it. And
well, I'll tell you what, buddy. I'd want windshields and leather coats and everything. Man, it's cold out there. I mean, shows you how smart we are. We're sitting here in shorts, That's brilliant. Whoever said radio people were smart, right?
I'm telling you.
Tell us a little about the 3 Degrees Motorcycle Club, please.
All right. 3 Degrees Masonic Motorcycle Club was formed about 10 years ago. Matter of fact, we'll have a 10-year anniversary coming up soon. It was formed by just a few guys that started it, and it's grown throughout the years, throughout the Masonic community. And we do a lot of fundraiser rides. We do a lot of just last week we escorted a soldier from Afghanistan that got shot and paralyzed by a sniper in the back. We escorted him home from Clarksville. We just do a lot of fellowshipping and raising money for good causes, and it's a great organization. Over 300 members, and we're international.
Well, buddy, I tell you what, there is no better organization than the Masonic Lodge, as far as I'm concerned. I have been a proud member of it for lots of years, and guys, a lot of people don't know, but in order to be a Shriner, you have to be a Mason first, and the Shriners, of course, do all kinds of good stuff, and this particular show benefits one of the Shriner hospitals, the Burn Hospital.
Sure does. Yeah.
And you guys are a special kind of cool. That's all I can say. You're just a special kind of cool for that.
I appreciate it, and we enjoy what we do. We do a lot of stuff, with the communities, and we love it. I mean, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, now I wonder, explain something to me. All the pretty girls are hanging out around your motorcycles. What's the deal there? I mean, I've heard of animal magnetism and all that kind of stuff, but you got all the good-looking women hanging out. What's going on?
I don't know. I guess the bikes just attract them for some reason.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, and we didn't even have to be around, so that tells you what they're here for. They're not here for us. They're here for the bikes.
Well, it's I don't know. I tell you what, Terry's my partner back here is an ex-professional speedway motorcycle racer.
Okay.
So he's big into the bikes. T, how come you don't have women hanging out like that around you?
I've got no answer for that.
Yeah, no answer. Well, maybe you got the wrong kind of bike. Maybe that's what
that might be it right there.
That may be it. You having fun at this event, sir?
Yeah, we just got here, and we're having a great time and a lot of nice cars out here. It's really just a cool environment. If you like old school stuff, I mean, you can't help but love it.
Oh, and it's fun, This is just a great event. We actually got to do this event last year, and we put it on our calendar as one that we for sure just couldn't stand to miss. We had to do it, including the chilly day, it's just part of it.
Well, it's like you said. I mean, it benefits the Shrine Temple, and the money that goes to that, of course, helps crippled and burned children, and I can't think of any other way to spend my Saturday.
Hey, it's about as good as it gets, my friend. About as good as it gets. Well, listen, there's too many women over there for us to keep you statue in one place very long.
It's too big for the other.
Yeah, he's a great big guy, guys. So we will behave. I promise you. We're not going to say anything ugly or anything like that. But we want to thank you for taking a couple of minutes to be on Event Radio. This is it's fun, and we have a big time. And thank you for doing all you do for the hospitals and all you do everywhere else that. Nobody but me will understand, but that's okay. There's a lot of me's out there that people don't know, and that guys, all this stuff you hear about the Masonic Lodge being a crazy bunch of idiots, absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. It's nothing but good. Just that's about all we can say.
And I will say something else. Next weekend in White House, Tennessee, we're having an event called the Harvest Moon Festival where we do the same thing. We raise money for people in the community that might not have it as fortunate as others during the holidays, and we feed them, and we do a Shopping with a Mason program.
That's cool.
And we're going to have the car show out there with some of the Voodoo guys out there. So
hey, sounds like fun, guys. Right, get out there and support that. We're just you can't spend your money in any better place. There's no doubt about it. And you get entertained, too, and all these good-looking girls wandering around like pin-up girls and stuff. Now, are you going to make them on a calendar maybe with your bikes or something? See, I might give you an idea. Cut us in there, will you?
Hey, it's all about making a profit.
There you go.
We can donate that money to a good cause. We'll do it.
There you go, buddy. Listen, thank you for being on Event Radio. We appreciate it. We've detained you long enough, and we'll let you go out and have a little fun.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, we're at the Voodo Hoodo. You were on Event Radio. Do not go anywhere. We're having just too much fun. We'll be right back. Well, T-Bone, what do you think of the Voodo Hoodo? Boy, I tell you what, this
gets better every year.
Yeah, it really does. It's just a little windy out here. Right? In case, guys, you hear a bunch of wind on this radio, we can't help it. It's blowing like big dogs, and a lot of people at this thing.
It takes a lot to hold each other down. The wind's blowing so much.
That's the truth. They're holding down tents. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Our buddy Junior with the valve cover racing, he's got a line a half a mile long. Everybody drag racing the valve covers. And
then again, to hold down the tent.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We actually, believe it or not, we had to park at our buddy Max at Comfort Inn, which, by the way, guys, is the #1 car guy destination hotel in the Bowling Green area. If you
by
come in,
far.
if you come in here for an event, the absolute first one that always fills up, guys, is the Comfort Inn. Because Mac and the guys there are really car friendly. They have miniature car shows just about in their parking lot at every event that goes on. He's got free continental breakfast. He feeds T and I, and we don't even stay there. But we go in and see Mac and eat good. But, it's a fun place. If you're coming into Bowling Green to one of the events, stop and see our buddies at Comfort Inn because they're cool. They have fun.
Right off exit 28.
Yeah, right off exit 22.
Okay.
28's Corvette Museum. Boy, you lost. What is it?
I live here all my life.
Well, I mean, what can you say? You got to see our buddy.
I hit my head a lot.
Yeah, that's what it was. Motorcycle racing does that to you. But we had a lot of fun at the Voodo Hoodo. It was a good event.
Seen some good old friends.
Yeah, some nice,
super good cars.
And we had a little bit of a lengthy interview with Lewis, but we don't get a chance to see him very much. Boy, he builds such cool stuff.
I've always known Lewis was a smart man, but I mean, he is really smart on them flatheads.
Oh yeah, he's smart on those cars, buddy. He builds some killer street rods.
He's built some killer Harley motors too.
You don't get a car in Jay Leno's garage being a slug. I mean, he's got some $1 million cars there, you know. And to have Lewis's Roadster, them search it out, and his car wind up in there, that's an honor within itself.
He'll probably be searching out this new one he's building.
Well, he may be. I don't know.
After he gets it off the salt flats.
Yeah, right. Lewis is going to try that wide open. You know, he's the kind of guy that no matter the quality that he builds, he's going to try it and make sure it's the way it's supposed to be. You know,
well, you remember back when we was younger, we always, considered Lewis to be just a little wide open. So Bonneville will be perfect for the man.
Yeah, he'll fit right in there. Guys, we appreciate you joining us as always on Event Radio at today's show, the Voodo Hoodo, which is one of our fun things. We never close out a show without thanking our sponsors. We appreciate them more than they will ever know. The great guys at Beach Bend Raceway, Beach Bend Park, and Splash Lagoon.
Quick Fuel Technology, the heart doctors of carburetors, Final Finish.
Yeah, they can fix or paint or powder coat everything.
They can make peanut butter shine.
Yeah, I believe they probably could. The guys at the Gearhead Gazette, guys, any events like the Voodo Hoodo or any of the car shows that are going on, if you need to find out a place that is in your area happening, just go to gearheadgazette.com. You can find some cool stories and calendar of events on everything that's cool. Gearhead Gazette has them. There's no doubt about it. They are the Bible, if you will, of car shows in this area. They will tell you like it is, and the good ones are what they handle. The good guys at Holly Performance, our newest sponsor, we appreciate them very, very much. If you can't find something at Holly for your hot rod, you either don't have a hot rod or you're here trying to buy a suit somewhere. But they have it. You think we ought to hit the Dusty Trail? We found a place that's a little bit warm here, but we can't stay there very long. We got to get out and roll a little bit.
Got to get out of sauna sooner or later.
There you go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us at the Voodo Hoodo on Event Radio. I don't exactly know where we're going next, but we'll wind up there. We just hope you go with us. We'll talk to you again.
See ya.
You've been listening to Event Radio, covering local drag racing, stock car racing, motorcycles, go-karts. If it's got wheels and you can race it, you heard about it here. Event Radio is motorsports radio on steroids. Join us next time with your hosts, Spivey Williams and Terrible T Guy.